Right, welcome back, and we're into the next episode now. So this episode's going to be all about rust. So yeah, the car looks good. It looks red. It's got a bit of a buff on it now, but these things hide a secret normally underneath. We're going to pull out all the interior, all the carpet, get the seats out. We're going to check anywhere that the normal rust spots are. Definitely rear arches, definitely the rear end's going to get that up in the air. You know, you're going to have problems with the seals, the RSs, they always go there. So we're going to check everywhere, stick some screwdrivers through some rust and see if we can find any holes, do an assessment so we can write down a list of what we need and yeah, get on with it. So welcome to the video and I hope you enjoy watching. Right, so first off, let's get to cleaning up this interior a little bit so we can get the carpet up, take these seats out. So I'm just going to quickly give it a hoover up, take any of the crap that's out the front here, get rid of these carpets and that. See, it's all filthy in here. So then we can pull the carpet up and see what's going on with the floor pans, because they always rot out in the floor pans and probably around the inner seals, outer seals, stuff like that. So we're going to check all them, stick a screwdriver in them, see what rust we got. So I just hoovered over that side, just getting all the crap out the floor well here. Just pulled out a receipt here. So this is the last oil we got for the car. Now the date on it, sale date, 29th of April 11. So that's one of the last times the car was out. So if you look there, that mobile 1550, if anyone would know, that don't even exist anymore. Don't worry, didn't use the Halford oil filter, threw that in the bin. But this is just a little insight. It's funny when you go through the cars and you see what you've bought and what you ain't. I can't even remember half the stuff in here. Like I just found a wheel bearing. Must have needed a wheel bearing because I've got a Ford Fiesta wheel bearing here. So we're going to check that as well. But obviously we built so many cars over the years that you just can't remember them all. And it's just fun to go through it all. It's like a little treasure trove. So I've also just found an old lottery ticket as well. It's all stuck together. Imagine this was a winning lottery ticket. One of them, you know, the ones that get lost and don't get claimed. Oh mate, I'd be so ill. This is absolute classic Essex RS stuff. So we've got an N-Dub CD. Yeah, a bit of N-Dubs, can't beat that. Burger King, you know, we've got McDonald's stuff in here. Even got some of the Monopoly. I didn't even realise they'd done it back then. But we've got Burger King Monopoly stuff, proper Essex RS, N-Dubs on the radio. So I finally give her this back a clean out, give it a quick hoover. I have got everything that I took out of here ages and ages ago, but the problem is I ain't got a clue where half of the stuff goes. So I'm gonna have to pull it out. The only problem is it's been sitting in that garage for a long time. So here's most of the stuff that was in the back of the car, just put on the side and left, all the carpets and everything, back seats, the old lot, even got sand deadening, even all the bolts. But I'm gonna have to pull it all out, give it a clean up, because you can see the mess of it in a minute. And also when I was talking about spider poo with the car dripping all over the car, look at the amount of spiders in this place. It's absolutely full of them. So you can see why it gets covered in stuff. So what happens is the spiders, bit of a naturist here, spiders, they eat all the insects and that, and then whatever's left, the juices or whatever, and they drip it all over the car, spit it out their bum, and that's the reason why you get all that nasty white stuff. So here we go, I've just pulled the seat out, and obviously another RS, another load of bodges. So you can see here that the inner floor pan into the sill is gone. But luckily the actual sill itself is still there. But it's rotted on the sill joint between the gasket. I knew there was sand cut because the sand deadening had been torn away. And then I found the usual stuff under here, look at this. So we've got, I don't know, a bit of plastic or whatever it is under there, and then you're seeing it for the first time that I'm seeing it, so it looks like I don't even know what that was meant to do. So they've stuck on a bit of plastic, I think. There's a bit of plastic here, and then I don't know what they've done. So there's still an hole there, so I'm not really sure if they normally they fill it in with seam sealer and paint over the top of it, but there was still an hole there, so no idea what that's about. But one thing I did find under the carpet was this. It was actually right under here, under the carpet, and I looked at it, and it's in Spanish. Oh, well, I think it's Spanish. I'm not the best with languages. The thing is, the date on it. Found the date, and it says September the 18th, 1990, 1528. And I'm wondering, because it looks like it's got a spec list in it, I'm wondering if this car was a Spanish car, right-hand drive Spanish car that got shipped over to England. I don't know if that's possible or not, but anyone that speaks whatever language this is, have a look at it and they can message me and tell me what that says. But you can clearly see that's got to be the build date, the 18th of September 1990, because this is a H-Reg car. One of the issues along this floor pan section here is I've obviously put tape across the chassis number so we don't end up with two cars with the same chassis number. You can see the floor pan is rotten against the sill here as well, and it's getting quite close to this chassis number, which is quite worrying because I really did not want to cut that chassis number out, make the car look like a ringer, because you can clearly see that that is the original chassis. So when you're dealing with rust, best thing to do is get it back to just start sticking screwdrivers through the holes and make sure that you get this rust and get rid of it, because these people that bodge rust holes, like they'd slap a bit of plastic across here and stick a load of seam sealer in it, paint over the top of it. I mean, Jesus Christ, these people. But anyway, look at the state of that. So we're gonna have to do another floor pan. This is pretty much exactly the same place as the Escort went. They all sort of go along here. So now we've got daylight along there. So I'm going to start pulling all this stuff out so I can get to it, and then I'll be able to grind it back and cut it out. But not going to do that yet. So we're going to write a list out of everything I need so I can start ordering it. Obviously you've got to get 2 floor pans. Lucky, as I say, the seals are good. I'll get, well, a little bit of rust there, so probably have to put some angle in there. Going to have a look underneath as well, check what's going on. So I've just peeled back that little bit up there. You can see clearly there it says 1.6 Turburger, whatever that is, Fiesta. Yeah, so anyone can translate this for me. I don't know if the history of these cars, whether they was built in another country and shipped over here, or if this one was actually a car, because it's a right-hand drive car, which is kind of confusing. So yeah, I'm gonna translate this later. That's kind of a little gem to find. Right, so exterior bodywork wise, you can see the car's pretty straight. It has had a respray at some point in its life, but if you look up close, you can see the telltale signs that you get behind all the RS Turbo body kits. So you see the bubbling behind here. That happens from the inside outwards. So I mean, you can't feel it, but there's hardly any arch left there. I will pull that off, but that's what it looks like. So I've done the other side already. I've pulled it off, and if you're ready for this, look at the state. So underneath these body kits hides a massive amounts of rust. And there you have it. So I've just been digging it around with a screwdriver. That's why there's loads of holes and everything in it. But look at that. So we're going to put a new arch on that as well. And we're going to put a new filler cap on here. You can't buy these rear quarters new anymore. Otherwise I'd put a whole rear quarter on it. But because you can't buy full rear quarters, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to obviously just chop it out and weld it in that way. That's the only unfortunate part about these cars now. Even the panels have been really hard to find. So yeah, you can only see, I mean, like when that's covered up, obviously I've peeled all this sort of off now, but when that's covered up by the arch, you can see what it looks like as soon as you pull it off. Now most of the RSs are like this, so it's not just a one-off. All my old ones used to be the same. I had Escort RS Turbos that only looked good because the body kit covered the holes. So I'm also going to take these rear and front bumpers off just to see what's hiding behind them, because obviously that hides a load of rust. But you can see now why this car hasn't been done yet, because obviously, you know, the rust takes a long time to salt, and then you've got to do the paint as well. You can see this has been fillered in the past. It's a common thing. They just fill it over rust. Never going to work. Just makes it cosmetically look nice. So now I've cleared out all the weight out the boot as well. The car sits at a nice ride height. Obviously the front's got the jack under it still, but the rear was slammed, which I didn't like. Obviously the reverse rake. Now it's got a nice ride height. I want to put the green strips as well along the sides when it's finished. So we have the green stripes all the way around. I think it looks good. Probably going to change them wheels as well. I've got a set of standard wheels. They'll probably be cleaned up and put on it. And also the badge needs to have Fiesta back on it, because it's just got RS Turbo. Someone's debadged the whole lot. They have all the badges back on it. So I've just pulled off that arch now. You can see underneath that. Rotten as well, not as bad as the other side, but I've just took the bumper off the rear section, and look at the state of this. This is the main reason that I come away from the Ford scene, the Ford RS scene, because they rot so bad. I mean, look at the state of this over here, this section here. Obviously I've banged through some screwdriver holes into it, but you can see it's going to need a rear panel on the back. Look at the state of it. they rot so bad. I can't believe Ford sold cars that could just rot so bad. These cars here were the same age as these when I bought them, and this ain't got a drop, this ain't got a speck of rust on it. These were galvanised bodies. I mean, you can't look, you just can't see a speck of rust on this car, and it was as old as them cars when I bought them from the start. And it's the reason that I stopped building them, because you know, you're fighting a never-ending battle of rust with them. So the more I take off this car, the more holes and more rust I'm going to find. So I ain't even looked underneath it yet. I mean, this shell might not even be salvageable. So it gets to a point at some point where you've just got to give up, depending on what panels you can get hold of these days, because the panels for these cars are harder and harder to get. And people that have genuine panels, they won't sell them. They just want to tell everyone they've got a genuine panel. They won't sell them, or if they do, they're like 600, 700, 800 quid, which ain't even worth it. Right, so I've just pulled the carpet up on this side as well. The seals on this side ain't nowhere near as bad, luckily. But same things going on over here. No idea what is going on. These plastic things again. So I'm pulling them off the first time that I've seen them as well. So, I mean, they've covered rust up, but I'm not even sure why. I mean, look, just pulling off. So yeah, you've hidden rust, but hidden it from who? I mean, like, you can't even see it from the other side. So what are these panels about? So there's more rust, and there you go. So I mean, this was done by the previous owner, so you can see how long ago these things were rotten, and that's the problem with all the RSs, they were rotten. So yeah, this is going to take a lot of welding as well. So, oh, hang on, what's that? More plastic, I think. So it actually makes me jealous when I see the floor pans on all the Vauxhalls. I mean, look how good they are. Not a speck of rust anywhere to be seen. I wish that Ford had took a little bit of time and done this, galvanised the shells, and maybe we'd have a lot more RSs on the road. But then they probably wouldn't be the prices they are now, and people would still be abusing them. So it's a no-win situation. Right, so I think next job to do is get this thing up in the air and look underneath and see how bad it is under there. That's why I want to get the carpets out. You know, you can clearly see from this side if it's rotten through. They always rot from the inside out on these cars. So gonna get up in the air now, and I just want to get this update up for you to show you how bad the car was. I wasn't joking when I said it's going to be a long project. You can see, I know it's only rust, everything's fixable. I've just got to see if I can get hold of the panels for it. You know, the panels are so difficult to get hold of. I can't find any floor pans for it. That rear panel as well, they look terrible as a pattern part, so that'll probably be patched up. What I have seen is this has already been repaired in the past, so I had a quick look, and you can see there's weld marks there with filler over the top of it. And then when I looked up close, this is actually mainly filler. So this has been repaired in the past, just done badly, like every RS repair in history. So like, obviously I could cut that whole section out and replace it. It is possible to do. It's going to take a lot of time, so I'm going to decide what I want to do with it. I'm going to jack it up. You see the next episode of it underneath, but for now you're going to see how bad it looks right now, and how easy it is to make them look good in an Instagram picture. Yeah, thanks for watching in this episode. You can see the project and how much work it's going to be to do. But you know, I ain't scared of hard work. I just need to find if I can get the parts for it and if it is actually salvageable. So that will decide in the next episode when I get it up in the air. So join me back for the next episode, and we'll see if this shell is actually salvageable or if we're going to have to do something else.